According to German New Medicine, the root emotional cause of poor bone health and osteoporosis is a self-devaluation conflict. Now, what that means is that at some point in a person's life, if that pattern started at 2 or 20 or 40, at some point that person took their experience of whatever was happening around them, and the way that they filtered that was, I'm a bad person, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I'm ugly, I'm whatever, insert something self-devaluating. and it goes to self-blame.
If you haven't done so already, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. It's a little red button. You punch that, and it's going to notify you every time we put out a new episode that can help you improve your bone health. And then also, if you haven't done so already, head over to BoneCoach.com, sign up for the free 7-day osteoporosis kickstart. That's going to walk you through everything you need to be doing right now to get on the path to improvement and stronger bones. After you do those two things, go ahead and press play on this episode, and I'll see you inside. Welcome to this episode of the BoneCoach Show. Joining us today to explore the emotional root cause of osteoporosis is Megan Smith. Megan Smith is the founder of Harmony Restored, a company focused on helping individuals heal from the stress that is at the root of their physical and emotional pain. Megan is a certified emotion code practitioner, author, healer, and mom to 6. She has been sharing her healing work with clients for over 10 years. Megan shares her healing work privately with one-on-one clients and also empowers women on a global scale through her proprietary healing system called Rooted in Health. Megan is passionate about helping individuals and families create radiant health, effortless joy, lasting energy, and fully participate in their life again. Megan is also president of Guiding Arrow Nature Camp. Guiding Arrow is a nonprofit with a dream of opening a regenerative farm and healing retreat center specializing in nature camp for children and young adults on the autism spectrum. Guiding Arrow specializes in providing transformative outdoor experiences in a safe and nurturing community for families and children who need it most. Megan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
I'm looking forward to this conversation because we're going to talk about something that is often not talked about when it comes to our bone health and osteoporosis, which is the connection to our emotional health as well. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we look at just our standard lab values and we're looking for secondary causes and we're told it's just hormones, but the other things outside of that we need to explore. And I'm looking forward to going into that with you today. But before we do that, maybe you could tell us a little bit more about you, your healing journey, and what you do.
Yeah. So I kind of going off of just what you just said, like I was in the same position. Now I was not dealing with osteoporosis, but I was dealing with Hashimoto's, and it was the same thing. I was doing all the testing and I was doing all the things, right? I had great diet, all the supplements. I was doing hormone testing and, blood work and all of it, gut health. I was focusing on all these things. And no matter how much I did, I felt like I just could not hit the mark. And I kept kind of hearing about this, mind-body connection. And I was like, cool, great. But like, I've got all this physical stuff I need to deal with. So I'll deal with that later. And then obviously famous last words. And I got introduced to the emotion code, and it was really transformative, not just for my health, but for my son who is autistic. And I knew I needed to figure out more and started digging and figured out how to do it myself and got certified. And here we are. Many, many years later. But yeah, it was really kind of my son, who brought me to kind of this whole alternative health world where after he got his diagnosis, I threw myself into it, and spent so much time and money and healers and doctors and homeopaths and everybody, all the while just completely stressed out, totally neglecting myself. My health started to decline. And then, we just kind of came full circle. And really it was, for us, it was getting to that emotional root cause. And, because that was the thing, I kept going to the doctors and they're like, everything looks okay. And I'm like, yeah, but I feel like crap. So there's gotta be something. And so many of my clients come to me who, have kind of been on this healing journey. They've tried all the things, they're doing all the things right, and they're just not, they're not where they want to be. And that's where I come in. And I come in and I'm like, all right, let's go ahead and dig into the subconscious. Let's get, your stress and your traumas and all this stuff cleared out so that you can really start to, really start to feel better. So that's kind of my journey into it. And, again, professionally, I've been seeing clients for 10 years. I see a bunch of clients from Dr. Zack Bush's office. And, so I have seen people, with osteoporosis, with cancer, with, just anxiety, depression, families, children, people in hospice. Everybody's got stress. Everybody's got emotional baggage. And that's kind of my job, is to come in and clear it out.
For those who aren't familiar, what is the emotion code?
Yeah, so the emotion code is a form of energy healing that works specifically to identify and release subconscious triggers. So, or trapped emotions. So, and trapped emotions are just kind of the leftover energetic baggage that we kind of accumulate over our lives. So, and when I say trauma, that can mean, some really big trauma. It can also just mean kind of everyday stress that builds up and builds up. And so no matter what someone's life experience has been on the scale of trauma, all of us kind of carry something with us. And my job is to go in and use muscle testing to identify those triggers and to release them. So again, if somebody comes to me with a headache, with issues with headaches, I will go in and I will say, okay, and go in and identify and clear the trapped emotions that are specifically triggering headaches. And that can be stuff from, 2 weeks ago, from when the person was 2 years old. So it goes beyond, we can go to therapy and we can talk about stuff, but that only goes so far, right? And so the energy work, the emotion code goes much deeper, and we can get back into stuff that, we don't even realize is connected to our issues now. So that's kind of a nutshell. There's obviously a lot more that goes into it, but that's kind of surface level what emotion code.
Yeah. And so is there breathing practices or like certain techniques and things like that kind of play a role into this as well?
So every person that comes to me, their session with me is very personalized, where it all really depends on what this one person is needing and their age, their situation, all these different things. Emotion code in and of itself is very hands-off. There's no homework. There's nothing that needs to be done. You come in, we do the work together, I clear things, and that's pretty much it. People always want homework though, because we're used to like needing to do something. That's actually the thing I love about the emotion code, is that people can come to me and finally don't have to do anything. We don't have to rehash everything and talk about it, and we don't have all of that stuff. Now, also, in a session, in addition to clearing trapped emotions, what I like to do with people is I like to kind of dig a little bit deeper into the physical aspect and, create a list of foods that would be healing for that person, create kind of based on their life and their circumstances, what are some positive things that we can add in? I always tell people, I'm like, this is not, one of your like wellness, like I have to get up at 4 a.m. and I have to do an ice bath and I have to meditate and it's not like that. This is more, how can you bring more joy into your life now? Because the whole point of my work is releasing stress, because we know that stress is at the root of disease, physical, mental, emotional. And so if getting up at 4 a.m. and doing ice baths and meditating is stressful for you, that's actually not going to help. No matter how much the gurus tell us it's going to help, if that is stressful to you, we don't want to add that in. So my job is to really help people kind of break away from all of the ideologies of wellness culture and actually figure out what works for them, what's going to bring you joy. So I don't care if it's an ice bath at 4 a.m. or if it's watching a funny movie. It's whatever helps you relax and de-stress and feel more joy is going to create all the chemicals that we need to put our body back into healing. So as far as like extra techniques, no. But it's more helping that person kind of uncover more and more of their authentic self, whatever that means for them.
Hey, it's Bone Coach Kevin Ellis. I want to take one more minute to talk about if you are somebody who was newly diagnosed with osteopenia or osteoporosis, and you're at a point where you're stressed, you're worried, you're overwhelmed, you have no idea where to start or how to get started getting confident in your plan. I want to tell you about the Stronger Bone Solution Program. Over 5,000 people have come through this Stronger Bone Solution program, and it walks you through the exact process you need to fill in the missing pieces, uncover critical things in your plan that you may not be aware of, and help you make modifications, adjustments, and tweaks to get you to the place where you're building stronger bones. I want you to get confident in your plan so that you can focus on living life and enjoying the life that you deserve with the people you love most. So if that's where you want to be, head over to bonecoach.com/apply and apply for our Stronger Bone Solution program right now. I'm Bone Coach Kevin Ellis. I want to see you inside this program. I want to help you get on the path to improvement and stronger bones. Hope to see you inside very soon. Let's get back to the episode. Now, there are studies out there that show major early life stressors, childhood mistreatment, trauma, sexual abuse, those kinds of things, they can strongly affect the stress response, as well as those behavioral and cognitive functions throughout the rest of somebody's life. So how have you seen people be affected by their emotional stress, their trauma, and maybe how does that tie into bone health also?
I mean, it's right there. It's all one line. Like it is, that's what I see over and over every day is people still living their lives today in this present moment out of a filter that was put on them at 2, at 10, at 20, at 30, because of some experience. And so we walk throughout this life and we had these experiences and I always think of it as just like putting on a pair of glasses. And so here's this, I put this pair of glasses on, this was 2 years old, this was, sexual abuse. And then at 5 years old, and all these things, and we just kind of start to see the world through this filter. And not just that, but other people see us through the filter as well. And so it's this energy exchange. And over time, those experiences from our childhood will affect us today in so many different ways. And it's not just like, oh, that one small pain. It's everything. It's our mental state, our emotional state, our physical state, our relationships, our career. Everything is affected by these experiences, whether we like it or not. And specifically, going back to kind of emotion code, I also use a lot of Chinese medicine and German New Medicine in my work as far as how to guide and direct my work. According to German New Medicine, the root emotional cause of poor bone health and osteoporosis is a self-devaluation conflict. Now, what that means is that at some point in a person's life, if that pattern started at 2 or 20 or 40, at some point that person took their experience of whatever was happening around them, and the way that they filtered that was, I'm a bad person. I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I'm ugly. I'm whatever. Insert something self-devaluating. And it goes to self-blame. And so rather than someone saying, you know what, like when something bad is happening and saying, putting up a boundary and having a proper way to process that and to work through that, they just go into like, yep, this is all my fault. Something's wrong with me. I'm a bad person. And then what happens is when we don't process that and we don't see our situation for what it is and say, oh, actually, I'm not a bad person. This was a bad situation that happened to me, but that's not who I am. When we don't do that, then over time, what happens is bone health starts to deteriorate. And the body is not actually doing anything wrong. The body is consistently trying to heal. And so if someone has gone all the way from just poor bone health to osteoporosis, what that means is that person has been in a self-devaluation conflict for a very long time. And there is, basically it is just self-judgment. And so when we talk about the mind-body connection and we think of, oh, this is, I got to focus on my gut health. I got to, and we do. I'm not saying that go eat McDonald's every day, right? But if we are eating the perfect diet and taking the perfect supplements and doing all the right things, but we are constantly self-judging ourselves and self-devaluating ourselves, a person's health is only going to improve so much, because this is such a big part of our overall physical, mental, and emotional wellness, is that this emotional aspect, and the way that we talk to ourselves, and the way that we, communicate with ourselves as to who we are in the world, that is either going to create disease or not. And that self-devaluation conflict is the direct link to poor bone health.
And for somebody who's trying to make changes to improve their health, right? We talked about all these other things, all the time: the nutrition, the gut health, the stress, the sleep, the exercise, the hormones, the all that kind of stuff. But what do you see as being some of the really helpful things for people who are stuck in these cycles of self-sabotage?
So a couple things. First thing is awareness. We have to realize that the way that we are unconsciously creating this conflict, especially when it comes to a self-judgment or a self-devaluation conflict, some of that happens so automatically, and especially for women. Like, we are taught from a very early age to, from magazines or social media or whatever, that we need to look a certain way, and we need to be a certain way, and our kids need to be a certain way, and our husband and our life, our home, our food, everything has to be a certain way. And if it's not, then there's something wrong with us. And we have to flip that script on its head. That's the first thing, is to have awareness of where all this self-devaluation is coming in. And then the things that I suggest for people are a lot of journaling, to just start, okay, how am I doing this? Because this helps to trigger that inner child. It triggers that, subconscious to come out onto paper. So I would say, sit down, start writing out all the ways. What are the things that you're constantly saying to yourself? Are you waking up every day and looking in the mirror and just hating what you're seeing? Are you mad at your body for being sick? Are you, all these things? All of those things are going to build up over time and create this conflict. So work on just awareness and trying to shift your mindset. Guided meditation can really help with helping in those acute moments when you're feeling that self-judgment. And then this is why I do Emotion Code, is because it's so good at going in and specifically targeting those early childhood traumas and those trapped emotions that, no matter how much positive affirmations we do, can't touch. Because it's that subconscious piece that, for me, at least in my health journey, was that piece of the puzzle that was missing for so long. And so it's definitely subconscious work. Therapy is always a good thing. Journaling, bringing more joy, and allowing yourself to thrive in this moment, not constantly waiting and putting it off and self-blame of things aren't good enough yet, I need to wait. No, you deserve to thrive and to be happy right now. And so, those are just kind of some of the things that I would suggest to somebody, ready to feel better.
For sure. And you mentioned Dr. Zack Bush, medical doctor, who's got a big focus in the area of natural health too. And he clearly recognizes this as something that's important too, right?
Yeah. So no, I've been working. I was a patient of his about 15 years ago when he first opened his clinic, and he was kind of there for me throughout this whole Hashimoto's journey. And he saw what happened. We were kind of hitting that wall of not really getting anywhere. And he saw what happened with me with the Emotion Code. And at that point, he was like, Megan, you've got to you need to figure out how to do this. I need this in the clinic. And so I've been there seeing his patients. He has these different pillars of health. And so my pillar of that is the emotional aspect of it, the energetic aspect of it. And so, yeah, I've been, at this point, seeing his patients for the last 10 years doing the Emotion Code.
That's great. Yeah. And emotional health, I mean, for those of you listening, emotional health is so important. And again, these stressors, these traumas, especially early on in life, they can be things that contribute to you developing depression, hypersensitivity to the stress response, and changes in these mediators that influence bone health. So this is something that is could be a very real contributor. And also that internal self-talk that you have. If you're constantly saying, gosh, I got that wrong, or I wish I would have done this, and you're just getting down on yourself. I know a lot of people get into that frame of talking to themselves in that way. I wish I would have done this, or, I'm so stupid, I didn't get this right. You're going to have situations where you made wrong decisions throughout your life. or maybe you didn't have control in that situation. You couldn't affect the outcome of it. What's most important is you're here today and you have the opportunity from today forward to do all those things to start making improvements and just keep your eyes moving forward to where you want to go, the positive
Exactly.
place.
Exactly. And, you know, the other thing that I notice a lot is people will come to me. This was my experience. I felt like I was doing all the right things. I'd cut out gluten and I'd done this and blah, 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 and I still didn't feel better. And that's for me, my self-devaluation conflict came in because I felt like I was doing everything right to get better and I wasn't getting better. And I was so stressed out. The more that I tried to heal and pursue health, the more stressed I got, the more self-blame I would go into. And so a lot of times we're not even seeing it because we're so deep in it. Like we can look back and say, oh yeah, I can see how I used to like beat myself up over this, that, and the other. But sometimes when we're in it right now, we can't even see that we are literally perpetuating the problem just from our own, the way that we're perceiving our situation. And so it's shifting that perspective. It's offering ourselves self-love, no matter how cheesy that sounds, you know, and really shifting the narrative around how we speak to ourselves and how impactful, not just that, but combining that with the subconscious energy work. Those two things together can just completely change somebody's life.
Any other specific, actionable things that somebody could take away from this and say, okay, you know what, leaving here today, obviously we're going to let them know where they can find you and help get help from you, but anything else that people can leave here today and say, okay, I can start doing or implementing these kind of actionable things in my life today?
Okay. So that's why before I came on the podcast, I very specifically created a guided meditation just for your people. So that was something because there's so many, wellness tips and all these things like go take a walk. That's great. Go take a walk if you want to. But like, I wanted to create a guided meditation that someone could use today if they're feeling if this resonates with somebody where they're like, oh my gosh, yes, I've totally done that my whole life. I'm stuck in this cycle. This is what I want you to go do is download that because I made it specifically about the self-devaluation conflict so when you are, it is specifically for my bone health people. So if you are stuck in this cycle of feeling like, all this self-judgment and self-blame is coming up, take a pause and push play. It's 5 minutes and it's going to guide you through releasing those feelings and coming to a moment of contentment, a moment of everything is okay. I'm okay. And what's going to happen when you do that, when you actually get to that place in your mind is all of that fight or flight is going to start to settle down. All of that stress is going to release and we're going to put our bodies in the place they need to be for healing. And so that's something, it's 5 minutes, do it 1 time a day, do it 5 times a day. But as soon as you feel that coming in, I just wanted to create a tool because again, we can sit here and hypothesize and talk all day, but until somebody has something acute they can do, it's not really going to make a difference. Right. So, so that is something you can do for sure. And of course, continue to follow whatever guidance really resonates with you, but more specifically, do things that bring you joy, because the more that we are doing that, the more that we get off of our phones and we get out in nature and we reconnect with people like our friends and our loved ones, that's where the real healing happens. When we put down the health book and we go out and we actually start living our lives again, that's when a lot of the healing just ends up happening on its own.
I love that you're giving a free meditation gift to our audience because, I've talked about this before. For me, meditation, even 15 years ago, if you would tell me that would be a daily practice in my life, I wouldn't believe it. I used to laugh at that, like, oh, come on, how is this really going to help me? But it does. It really, really does. You can change your physiology, through these things, which is great. So any other place that you want to point people to that we can leave in the show notes so they can find you where you're at?
Yeah. My website is harmony-restored.com. I'm on Instagram at Harmony Restored. That's like the best way to find me. So
wonderful. Well, for everybody listening, you can find all the resources and show notes down in the link below in either YouTube, if you're on YouTube, or if you're on the podcast. Just click that link below down in the show notes, and we'll see you in the next episode. Hey, it's Bone Coach Kevin Ellis. Hope you found that episode helpful and that you enjoyed it. Just one last reminder, if you haven't done so already, head over to bonecoach.com, sign up for your free 7-day osteoporosis kickstart. It's going to tell you everything you need to do to start getting on the path to improvement. Hope you found this helpful. I'm your Bone Coach Kevin Ellis. I'll see you soon.